What if everything Prince Harry thought he knew about his wife, his children, and his closest confidant wasn't just wrong, but recorded? This isn't gossip. This isn't rumor. This is audio, leaked, online, and it's spreading faster than anyone at Buckingham Palace, or even Netflix, can contain. The voice is Tyler Perry's. The woman's voice, more delicate, is unmistakably Meghan Markle's. And as for Prince Harry, he's already gone. A quiet, unannounced flight back to the UK. Alone. No staff. No children. No Meghan. But before we continue, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. So let's pause here, because something strange is happening, and it's happening in real time. Tyler Perry, once the trusted friend, protector, and godfather to Harry and Meghan's daughter, has now become the source of what may be the most devastating leak in royal history. No flashy press release. No dramatic public betrayal. Just a link, quietly dropped online. Then echoed across encrypted forums and mirrored on obscure servers. And now, the questions are piling up faster than answers. Why now? Why Perry? Why this tape? Let's remember, this is a man who housed Meghan and Harry during their most fragile moment. After the Megxit, after the UK press storm, when they were, in Meghan's own words, barely surviving, Perry gave them shelter. And now, the voice on that tape, his voice, is heard chuckling alongside Meghan's. Not at a joke, exactly. At something else. Something about Harry. About perception. About control. I won't play the tape here. Not yet. Not in this section. Because we're not ready. You need to understand what's at stake first. This isn't just about a marriage. Or a leaked recording. This could alter everything, from public sympathy to royal legacy. There's already speculation about what Meghan says on the tape. Some claim it's harmless, just contextless chatter. Others say it's far more damning. Admissions, insinuations, perhaps even a revelation that could impact royal lineage itself. And then there's Harry, spotted at Heathrow, ducking into a waiting vehicle. No security detail. No smiles. No comment. One source close to the royal press pool described him as ashen. Another simply said, he looked like a man who just heard the truth and didn't know where to go next. So here we are. A prince running. A tape unraveling. And a silence from Meghan that's growing louder by the hour. But this is only the beginning. Because while everyone's focused on what Meghan said on that tape, no one's asking the more terrifying question. What else did Tyler record? And what's still to come is far worse than anyone imagined. It started with laughter. Not nervous, not staged, just casual, comfortable. The kind of laughter that slips out when you're not guarding yourself. And that's what made it so jarring. Because the voices, they weren't supposed to sound comfortable. There's no video, just audio. It opens with the soft clink of glass. Wind, possibly a coastal breeze, distant, almost calming. And then, her voice. Familiar, collected, almost amused. He thinks I'm broken, she says, but I'm winning. Now, you can interpret that in 100 ways. It could be sarcasm. It could be a joke. But it's the way she says it. Almost softly, like she's repeating a private thought she said to herself more than once. Then a man replies. And he'll never know, unless I tell him. And that's the moment it clicks. Because the voice isn't a mystery. It's Tyler Perry. It's definitely him. And there's this small, breathy chuckle after he speaks. You can hear her smile, even if you can't see it. So what were they talking about? That's the part no one can fully pin down yet. Context is deliberately thin. The clip is less than 2 minutes, and it cuts off mid-sentence. But the implications are enormous. The tone isn't romantic. But it is intimate, familiar, like two people who know too much about each other. Like they've talked like this before, many times. And that's what's got people online spiraling. Was this an affair? Was it emotional manipulation? Or something else entirely? Some plan, some agreement, that Harry was never meant to know about? One theory, picking up steam in encrypted chat rooms, is that this wasn't an accidental leak. That this was Tyler's way of saying, I've got more. But why now? Some say Tyler feels burned. That Meghan promised him a production deal through Archewell, something big. A multi-part docuseries. And when it fell through, he kept the receipts. Others believe he's protecting himself from a larger fallout. That he knows something's coming. And he's preemptively building his own defense. But pause on that for a second. Because the moment that's really rattling people, it isn't a word. It's a silence. Right after Meghan jokes about editing the story, there's a pause. And Perry doesn't laugh. He doesn't respond. You can hear a shift in the air. His breathing changes. It's tiny, almost imperceptible, but it's there. Like something was said that crossed a line. Like he realized, maybe for the first time, that this wasn't just pillow talk or planning or inside jokes. This was strategy. And here's the thing. If that short clip reveals that much, what's on the rest of the recordings? What happens when Meghan stops joking and starts confessing? Because what's whispered next is the part Perry never intended the world to hear. Was Tyler Perry a co-conspirator or a witness with a record button? That's where this story starts to twist in on itself. Because the question no one's answering, the question everyone keeps dodging, isn't what's on the tape. It's why it exists at all. Think about it. Why would Tyler Perry, a billionaire with an empire to protect, record these conversations? Why keep them? Why now, of all times, leak them? There are two dominant theories floating around. Neither are flattering. One suggests this was premeditated blackmail insurance, Tyler covering himself in case the relationship with Meghan soured. The other paints him as manipulated, drawn in by charm, only to realize too late he'd been used. That he recorded not to expose, but to protect his own name when the lies began to unravel. Both theories assume one thing. He knew he was holding something explosive. And if that's true, what does that make Meghan? See, the second tape, also leaked anonymously, shifts the tone. It's darker, more transactional. She's heard saying, "I crafted every word. Don't worry, they'll eat it up." She's laughing again, but Perry isn't. Instead, his voice is low, measured. "You're playing with fire," he says. She replies, "No, I'm playing the press." And right there, the whole mood changes. Was she referring to the infamous Oprah interview? The Archetypes podcast? A planned appearance? No one knows for sure. The tape cuts right after that line. But it's enough to raise serious questions. Not just about honesty, but about intent. Because if this wasn't improvisation, if this was strategy, then Harry's marriage isn't just under emotional strain. It may have been built on a media campaign crafted behind closed doors, between two people who knew exactly what to say and when to say it. And here's where it gets messy. Sources inside the Archwell Foundation claim Perry's proposal for a docuseries was turned down cold by Meghan's team. No explanation. No thank you. Just silence. Not long after, he's removed from all official inner circle mentions. No more photos. No quotes. Not even as godfather to Lilibet. So what changed? Maybe nothing. Maybe Perry was always on the edge, useful until he wasn't. Or maybe he realized something. That he'd been part of something bigger than he thought. And instead of going down with it, he decided to break away. On his terms. And break, he did. Because a third audio file has surfaced. It hasn't been authenticated yet. But if it's real, it contains a single sentence from Meghan. Just 5 words. He'll believe it's his. We're not playing that clip. Not here. Not yet. Because the implications? They're nuclear. And the fallout has already started. He'll believe it's his. That line, if real, doesn't just shake the marriage. It drills into something deeper. Something primal. Identity. Blood. Legacy. And here's where everything spirals. Because that 5-word whisper isn't just a betrayal. It's a trigger. One that detonates questions about the children. About Archie. About Lilibet. And whether Prince Harry has been living in a narrative carefully written for him by someone else. Now, to be absolutely clear, we don't know who she was talking about. There's no name in the clip. No direct reference. But timing, as always, is everything. The audio was allegedly recorded in mid-2021. That's months after Lilibet's birth, and just before a string of suspicious changes in Meghan's public behavior. Reclusiveness. Stage photo ops. Shifting alliances. The tone of the tapes suggests something was unraveling, privately. And then, there's Tyler's silence. Throughout the leaked tapes, he talks. He laughs. He even jokes. But after that line, he'll believe it's his. He says nothing. Not a word. The audio keeps recording for another 11 seconds. All you can hear is ambient sound. A phone buzzing. A long, slow exhale. Then the audio ends. That kind of silence, it lingers. So what does Harry know? That's the question bouncing through royal corridors now. Because his sudden flight to the UK wasn't just unexpected, it was uncharacteristic. No prior statement. No press coordination. No security tail, which is unheard of given his ongoing legal battles for protection in Britain. And here's where things get really uncomfortable. Insiders claim Harry made one stop immediately after landing. Clarence's house. Alone. That meeting lasted 47 minutes. No aides were present. No comment followed. But those close to the situation say Charles emerged from the meeting visibly shaken. Red-faced. Silent. Is it possible that the question of paternity has reached the king? And if it has, what happens next? There are legal implications, public trust issues, and something deeper, something almost existential for the royal family. If Harry's children aren't his, what does that mean for succession? For legacy? For the monarchy's future? But there's something even more disturbing, something no one expected. Because while Harry was in that meeting with Charles, Meghan was spotted, alone, in Montecito, with a suitcase. No children, no staff, just one bag, one car, and a driver that no one recognizes. Where was she going? Who called for the ride? And more importantly, what was she trying to leave behind? There's a moment, right at the end of the third tape, that most people miss. It's easy to overlook. No drama, no gasping revelation, just Meghan whispering, "Delete it." And Perry's reply? He doesn't say a word. And that silence now echoes across headlines, across palaces, across a marriage that once presented itself as a fairy tale escape from a gilded cage. Because what started as whispers between friends, or perhaps something more, has evolved into an unraveling of trust on a global stage. But let's pause. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What do we actually know? 3 audio clips, 2 voices, 1 prince who boarded a plane without explanation. And that's all. The rest? It lives in implication. It lives in the spaces between words, in the breathless pauses, in the things not said, but felt. The weight of betrayal, real or perceived. The disorientation of watching a story you thought you were writing get rewritten by someone else. Here's what's certain. Tyler Perry hasn't denied the tapes are real. No legal threats. No cease and desist. No spin. Just quiet. Meghan's camp, meanwhile, calls the clips fabricated gossip. But again, no lawsuits. No takedown notices. Which is odd. Especially for a couple known to be litigious when cornered. And then there's Harry. Still in the UK. Still off radar. Still silent. The man who once told the world he left his country to protect his wife now seems to be running from the one person he trusted most. So where does this leave us? Not in resolution. Not in certainty. But in the murky middle, where reputations hang by threads and truth feels like smoke. The monarchy, long a fortress of image and secrecy, may now be facing a storm of a different kind. Not from tabloids or institutions, but from within its own fractured orbit. And Tyler Perry? He may have just changed the trajectory of royal history, not with a documentary, or a memoir, or a bombshell interview, but with a whisper recorded in the dark. The question now isn't what's on the next tape. It's how many more are there? Because this feels like the opening move, not the finale. And if you think we've reached the bottom of this story, you're not paying attention. So let's keep going. Because something is coming. And it's going to shake every name we thought we knew. If you want the next chapter the moment it breaks, subscribe now. Drop a comment. Do you believe the tapes are real or something else entirely? And share this, because what's coming? You'll want to be ready for it.